you're all set, Teresa.
Okay. I would like to call the September 2nd, 2020 Newington Economic Development Commission meeting to order. We can stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next is roll call.
I'll handle that for you.
Okay.
Commissioner Ancona,
Excused.
excused. Counselor Braverman,
Here.
Counselor Bedrejko, not currently here.
No.
Commissioner Havens,
Here.
Commissioner Marsden, not present at this time. Commissioner Nagel, I can see she's on, but you're muted, Jerry, but we got you. Commissioner Payne,
She's
muted as well, but I didn't note that she responded. Commissioner Rio,
Here.
Commissioner Rosa, I see you.
oh, okay.
Commissioner Symes has resigned. Commissioner Slater,
He's here.
yeah, I see he stated it in the window. He didn't unmute though. Commissioner Stam, not showing as present at this point.
He is on.
He is.
Yes, and Fernando just jumped on also.
I'm here.
Yeah, I saw Fernando. Chairman Avey,
Here.
Teresa, can you send Dave Marsden the link? He does not have it or can't find it.
The phone number doesn't work.
I will take care of that to him.
Thank
You have a
you.
quorum, you can go forward.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 4th, 2020?
I approve.
I approve.
Okay, so we had a first by Jay, second by Jerry Lynn. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Any public participation?
At this point, you have three attendees on board. You have Miss Barbara has raised her hand to speak. I'll go ahead and unmute her and allow her to talk.
Thank you.
Please state your name and address for the record and go ahead.
Hi, everyone. This is Barbara Schoolcoat with 275 Beale Street. I just wanted to welcome everybody back. It's been a long time since the committee has gotten together. I do have a correction that I want to make, or should be made, I should say, to the minutes of the last March meeting. And that was a statement that said that I had informed the commission that Cedar Crest Pontiac and the National Welding Site were available. That's not what I asked. I asked for where, what the status was of those two parcels of land. And I have since read that Dakota is still possibly going forward, but I'm not sure where that stands. The other thing I wanted to ask is, does the committee have a listing of businesses that might have closed since January or have moved out of town? And if so, where do they keep that list? And if they don't do it, why aren't they doing it? Those are my questions. Thank you.
I know of a few businesses that have closed. And I know the Mindful Yoga Center in the center of Newington did close because of COVID, but Strong House Yoga Center has taken its place. I don't know of other businesses other than Laser Quest has also closed. Do any other commissioners have any information?
Pier 1 closed,
Okay, thank you, Sharon.
or will be closed
Yeah,
officially.
Right.
I was gonna say I was just in there. They're still there.
It's closing.
Right. I do know that there are some businesses that are moving into town. The Wren Kitchen is still coming forward into the old Ann and Hope area. And I do know that developers have been
Okay.
meeting with town officials about other areas. But I don't have any particulars of what properties they are. Jay? Could someone mute whoever has the background noise?
That's what I was
please?
going to ask. Somebody has their, okay, because I'll unmute. Much better now.
Okay. I do know that developers have been talking with our town manager, but that's all I really know. He didn't give me any more information, mostly because it's not public yet. So hopefully we do have someone looking at Keeney and Best Market to redevelop that. But once again, I don't know what they're going to turn it into. Does that answer your question, Barb? Bruh, I'm sorry.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, does that answer your question?
It does. I mean, I was kind of hoping that the committee might have a list of either businesses that closed or just actually moved out and what buildings are vacant. If they did, I'd like to know where that list is. I think that's something that's important to this town, as to probably every town, but I think the public has should be aware of that, because that's impacts the town and our taxes and everything else. So I'm hoping that things work out with the developers and we can move forward. But I think that list is important. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from public participation? Okay. Pete, do you have a chamber report?
Hold on, let me just put this on unmute so I can speak. I actually sent it so that it went to the whole commission. I sent it to James and I sent it to the person that sets up these meetings. I sent it today. James, did you get that? Okay, well, I'll walk through it, okay? But I did send it over to Diaz. Can't hear you, Teresa. You're muted.
It was sent to Cynthia. It's up on our screens now.
Okay, I don't see it here, so you're showing it? I can just walk through it. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So this will take a couple minutes to go through because there's been, almost five months of activity. We recognized back in March very quickly that with the pandemic coming upon us, it would be a very challenging year for the chamber. Our focus went from growth mode to membership retention mode. And I put together a plan back in March to look at that I reviewed with my board of directors that we voted on in April to look at what the budget would look like for 2020, 2021. We typically have a year ago, our member retention was about 87%, which is good. 87%. In most chambers, they typically run 75 to 80%. And last year we were at 87%. This year we were concerned with COVID and people not in business and being out of business for a month or 2 months at a time. Chamber membership is one of probably the last bills that they're looking to pay. But we had hoped to maintain a membership level of 70%. I'm happy to say we're well over that already. And I believe that we'll hit the 80 percentile mark for retention, which is fantastic in this type of economy, in this pandemic. So we're doing very well with our membership. We have stayed during the pandemic. We missed 1 week. Okay, the week of March, I think 12th or so. We missed 1 week, but we have gone into, James had mentioned before, Pete, you're used to these Zoom meetings. This is what I do throughout the day, and Zoom has been a very important part. We recognized right away that we had to keep our members engaged. So we got a Zoom account. Our weekly meetings, we're averaging 25 to 30 members, which is as good or better than when we're meeting in person. This morning's meeting, we actually had 26 attendees. During the pandemic timeframe, we had a major emphasis on social media, and we did chamber check-ins where we're reaching out to our membership via video. We did open for business videos. In all, we did 25 member videos that were put out on Facebook to our entire membership. Many of those got picked up by the social media outlets here in Newington. We did in April and May a restaurant takeout. So for 8 consecutive weeks, we featured a given restaurant to do takeout from. So we did TJ's, we did the Flying Monkey, we did many others. We did TGIFs. I think we did Tokyo Cafe. I don't recall all 8 of them, but going further, we did have, we couldn't do a lot of our activities. Okay, a lot of our events, we missed we couldn't do our annual meeting in May. We couldn't do our car show. We changed it into a car parade. But we did bring on a very new engaged board. And if you have it on your list there, Kayla McBee, who runs Balanced Massage, has been incredibly engaged. Kristen Backa, Flash Lady Photography, is now on our board. Bobby Stewart, who just 16 months ago opened up Chick-fil-A on the Berlin Turnpike, has been an incredible force in our chamber and is now a board member. And Lou Nero of Magnified Home Inspection. We, as a board, reached out to people that we're looking that would be very engaged in our community. So I talked about the fact that we went to a membership retention mode, and that was for really March, April, May, and June. And we just started picking back up into the growth mode. And I'm really happy because we've stayed so visible during this entire time. We have a lot of new members. In the last 2 months, we've gained 11 new members. Do you have them listed there, Teresa, so I don't have to go through each one of them? You're on mute. Just hold the space bar down.
It starts with Market Square Financial.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. James scrolled up.
Yeah, so we have 11 new members in the past 2 months, and I'm really happy because it means that we're getting back to business. It's not just survival mode, it's now growth mode. And we thought that there would be a ton of survival and retention, but now we're doing some things. And to the I'm not sure, Barbara, was that Barbara Womer that asked that question earlier? Or there's a Barbara that asked a question about?
Correct.
Okay, so some of the new members that we have in the chamber are also new businesses in Newington. Laserscapes is a tree company on Payne Road. They're right next to Newington Electric and Best Pizza on Payne Road. Laserscapes new. We just did a ribbon cutting for them last month. We have here, I'm looking at some of the new ones. It's been here for a couple of years, but DeBella Subs is really engaged into our business community and has just joined our chamber, and they want to do a lot of new things with us. We have the MFR Suite. MFR is also over on Payne Road, right behind Image Inc. And they have a metal rock radio group. They have a landscaping group. They have a property management group. Another new business in Newington. So I'm just glad that we've gone from the sort of the retention survival mode to sort of back to business growth mode. One of the real hardships that we've had is not having some of our outdoor events or indoor events. And again, we missed our annual meeting, our annual dinner we couldn't hold. We're not going to be able to hold our largest fundraiser of the year, the silent auction, in November. We just can't do anything with 300 people. So we recognize that. We're trying to get around that and do other things where we can socially distance and do things. Our fundraising committee has come up with a drive-in movie that we're doing on Saturday, the 26th of September. It's Aladdin with Will Smith. We've gone through that. We got that all set up. We can have up to 50 cars. Tickets are available at newingtonchamber.com. I got a ton of sponsorships on this from people that really like what the chamber's doing and are supporting us. So that's my chamber report. I welcome any and all questions that you may have.
Thanks, Pete.
You're welcome.
I have a question, Pete. Did Laser Quest go out of business too, or was that a while ago?
Laser Quest, I heard, is going out of business. I do not know if they have gone out of business yet, but I did read that they are closing their doors. Dana knows. She's holding up her hand. Dana?
Yeah, they did. They mentioned it on a couple of the Facebook pages. It's heartbroken. He's going to miss his kids that he employed, but they had to go due to the COVID.
Mhm.
And Jay, did you guys look into doing a virtual silent auction? So I know several other organizations have done that with success.
So it's being looked at, Dana, by our fundraising committee. There's a ton of work that goes into that, and so we were looking at it. We're still looking at other things we can do. We sort of looked at all the different things that we had done, and we're trying to we're a little bit transforming ourselves into things that we can do and in the time frames we can. So outdoor activities are probably a lot more prominent. Well, you can't do a lot of outdoor activities in December and January, but we have put on a spring schedule that we're going to do our first golf tournament. And so we tried to look at what can we do, what can't we do. To answer your question directly, we've looked into the virtual aspect. We have not committed to it yet.
What about doing it on NCTV, like PBS does their auctions, that type of deal? They used to do that years ago to raise money for NCTV.
Well, I will take that up as an idea. We do have our board meeting coming up. We have in the next 2 weeks, so I will take that up. You know, we're always looking to see what can we do. Again, we were in survival mode for 2-3 months, and now we're looking, okay, we feel that we're back in a people are getting back to business. We're trying to get closer to normal. So, you know, all these ideas are good ideas, and certainly it's something that we'll take up within our fundraising group. Thank you. Any other questions regarding chamber activity? Okay, thank you for letting me participate.
Thanks, Pete. Old business. Before the pandemic and the world coming close to the end, we, Dana, Jay, Geraldine, and myself were working on the flyer. I kind of lost track of it, and I dropped the ball with getting the picture from IT, but I will circle back with them on that. Dana, Jay, Geraldine, anything you want to add? Rob?
I think we sent it back to Rob, so it was in his hands, just waiting for the picture, if memory serves.
Okay. And I'll get that picture to you, Rob.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Rob, you're all set with what we gave you back. I know it's been a while, but you
Yeah,
have
I
that.
think so. I'll take another look just to make sure, but I think we're good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, new business, I see that our town manager, Keith Chapman, is on. Do you want to give us some information? I touched upon that there is talk with some developers. If you want to give us more information.
Sure. Basically, because of COVID-19, we're all faced with the same challenges as Pete outlined. But we have been meeting with a couple of developers that are looking at a couple of sites in town. We're optimistic that at least one or two of these will come forward in the short future. But I will tell you that the COVID-19, we'll say, fallout is going to be much more severe than what I think we would hope it to be. You know, I've been concentrating recently on driving this entire town, going to every area of town. And, you know, I look at the Berlin Turnpike, and we're, you know, our retail outlets are diminishing along there. Some of the big stores like Pier 1 are going. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned that the remaining businesses, because of the restrictions that have been placed on some of them, are just hanging on at this point. And COVID-19, I will tell you that we have been successful for the last 6 months in town hall, that no one has had COVID-19. However, just last night, we were informed of a individual that has acquired the infection, and it's put us into a little tizzy, we'll say. So we're rethinking what we're doing in the town hall. I think COVID-19 is coming back, and I think it's going to be as strong as last time, if not more. But, you know, on the bright side, we do have developers that I think are not as adversely impacted by what's going on with COVID-19. So they're moving forward with their business plans. And fortunately, some of those include some developments into Newington. You know, we're looking at the way in which the town does business. We're still closed, basically, and we will remain closed until the health director gives the okay to open up. And you know, you work there, Teresa, that you know, it's a difficult situation. You know, we have customers that need service that we're providing service to, but not in the way we would like to. We have a brand new town hall that we can't even show off. So, I think that from the town's perspective, we're gonna, continue to strive towards new business end of things, maintain and retain those that are here. Again, my Mondays are dedicated for recruitment and retention purposes. However, the retention side, it's difficult to meet with existing businesses. We have sent out over 100 letters to new businesses outside of Newington, new upstart businesses throughout the whole country that we're inviting in to Newington. But there's a real slowdown on what businesses are doing as far as expansion and so forth goes. But we're just hoping with our delayed 3-month tax collection that it's not adversely impacted to a large extent, because that revenue is critical to the town. And we won't know that as to what percent we're collecting until later this month and next month. But we're going to just monitor what's going on and continue to strive to keep the businesses in town. We are doing much more outreach. When a business calls me or my office, I generally try to make an appointment to go see them, and as well as the citizens. If there's a complaint or a concern, we want to make sure our taxpayers are happy and don't get frustrated with the town. And I think we're doing pretty well in that regard. We just, for example, paved North Mountain Road, which I was shocked at the condition when I came back, but that was put on the priority list. So that whole business area up there has a new look about it. Curbing was going in as of yesterday. And so we're trying to, take the infrastructure we have and improve it so those businesses that want to invest in Newington feel good about it, rather than questioning whether they should come. So it's a challenge, and we'll work through it. But working with Pete in the chamber, I think will certainly be helpful. But as Pete points out, the changes and the challenges are much greater than ever before for our town. So that's about where we stand. And I'm open to any questions.
Keith, just one question. Is there, I heard some things, and I don't know if there's any truth to this rumor. Is there anything going on with the former Bonefish Grill site?
Former what?
Former Bonefish Grill site?
Yeah, there is. We have a client or a customer or an investor that is currently negotiating with the property owner of that site. It's another restaurant that would be welcome to the Turnpike. So yeah, that's continuing. Last time I talked to those individuals was probably 3 weeks ago, but they're negotiating right now with the property owner of that location. So we're optimistic that that's going to happen. This is a restaurateur that has several restaurants in the general area. He's known, and would be certainly a welcome complement to the Turnpike if it happens. I can also tell you that I have been in discussions with the Lowry Place, Main Street, Constance Lee area, with the Keeney Manufacturing and the old food mart, I call it, but I guess there's a name that people refer to it in more recent years. But the strip mall across from Keeney on Lowry Place. So there is activity going on there. There is studies being done. There's a marketing company that's looking at both properties. And we fortunately have been invited to participate as a town in that process. So we're hopefully that we'll have some input into whatever's decided up there. So that is another one that's moving along. Once the marketing study is complete, then they'll look at what types of opportunities they present and propose, and then hopefully we'll be at that table as well to give our input as the process moves forward. So there is things going on, but I think that there is some apprehension by everybody as to what is going to happen with COVID-19. It's really a major impact on all operations.
Jerry Lynn, you have a question?
No, I don't. But I agree with what Keith said is, even my doctor, and I was telling Dana, when it comes after I get my flu shot, they really want Rhonda and I to kind of stay put. And what Keith said is true, is they think it's going to come back with a vengeance. And, you know, folks that are high risk in the town, you know, are susceptible, especially what's going on in the schools. And it's a shame what's going on.
Yeah, you know, the message is kind of mixed because there are some businesses that are being restricted greatly. There are certainly, we're listening to our health director from the district. And then you have the schools that are opening. We know what's going on with the colleges right now. It's a very confusing time right now. And I think, unfortunately for all of us, our lives are going to change forever, and probably not to the good either.
Teresa?
Yes.
Hello. I've been talking to
Hi, Sharon, sorry.
what?
Go ahead, Sharon.
There's a tremendous echo.
Hi, Dave.
For some reason, Geraldine's on twice, so if you look at the participants.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
think that might be why there's an echo.
Hal Whitney has a question, I believe.
I have a question.
Yeah, I just, okay, I unmute. Okay, I can't, for some reason, unmute Hal. It won't let me.
No, he has to do it himself. You can only ask him to.
Okay. Hal, if you'd like to speak, the floor is yours.
Am I on yet?
Yes, Hal, we can hear you.
Okay, question for Mr. Chapman. The former Economic Development Commissioner used to mention his negotiations about a hotel and a garage at the busway off Myra Cohen Boulevard. Is there a status, an updated status on that?
I can only tell you that the hotel still is moving forward. I've talked to the owner of the property recently, so that is still on the table. The old National Welding site next door to where the hotel would go, we're actively talking with developers about that site. That's a site that's owned by the town. And that looks very promising. I think if you look at the town overall, that particular area, the Fen Road, Myra Cohen Way, the Cedar Street area, is probably the next boom area that's going to take off because the busway is there, the college is there. You know, once this COVID-19 thing gets out of here, see the problem you have if you go to the busway right now, because of COVID-19, many people that work, we'll say in Hartford or New Britain, that would ride that bus are working from home. So the parking lot at the busway at both the Fen Road location and the Willard Avenue location are not filled by any means where they were overflowing before. So, you know, again, we're in a very challenging time. But yes, there is a lot of activity going on right now down in that corridor where Cedar and Fen come together. And I think the fact that Route 9 is there, the college is there, the busway's there, the potential for the train station to be there, all are working to our advantage when it comes to companies and developers looking for new sites in the Connecticut area.
Anything else, Hal?
Hello, Jerry Nagel. I've been talking to Terry Fleeting. She's the mother of the church in Hartford, and they have a congregation of 50, and they were looking for a larger site. And I talked to them about Newington. So, for rent.
Well, ironically, I will tell you that I've talked to several of the church leaders in town. And one of the things that has changed dramatically since I left and then now come back is the membership of some of the churches has diminished significantly. Where some of the churches, well, even the synagogue on Church Street changed hands, which I was kind of surprised at. But, you know, we want to work with the Clergy Association. We reached out to them when the COVID-19 problem began. And, you know, years ago, that group was very active with the town manager. And I'm trying to get that reactivated because I think they play an important part in the town in a number of respects. But right now, I think some of those churches are struggling for membership. So if there is a church that's looking for space for 50 members, they should give me a call. I think we could work something out with them to even maybe share one of the churches that are underutilized at this time.
All right.
Keith, I'm sorry, you said the synagogue that became an Indian temple has changed hands, or was that when it became
that the
temple?
synagogue, you know, from when I was here before, it was a synagogue, now it's a temple. No, those people are still occupying that space. In fact, they're doing improvements in the parking lot right now. I did meet with one of the parishioners of that temple late last week, and just to check in with them and see how they're progressing. And they don't have a lot of activity on the weekly basis, but there are certain times, either in the evening or on the weekends, that it's active over there. So they're spending some money on the property. It needs to be. It's been neglected for a while. So things should improve over there. Yes.
So do you know about, or can I tell you about a couple of things on the Berlin Turnpike? I thought you
Sure.
would probably know them. 2547 used to be a mattress firm, and that's just been leased to SK Lavery. Did you know that?
I did not, you know, I knew there was some activity, but I didn't know who was actually looking to go in there. Yes, that's good.
Yeah, they'll be opening probably in a month. And then where, I guess one of the curtain places down there, a couple of blocks away from that spot on the turnpike on the same side, southbound lane there, the big plazas.
It's Hope. Ann and Hope.
Okay, where Ann and Hope was, Ren is coming in there. You must know that, right?
Yeah,
That's the kitchen place.
that's that Ren's.
Ren's, it's a kitchen store. He's from the United Kingdom.
Yep.
And they do custom cabinets, and he had a store before the pandemic. He was opening one in Milford.
Mhm.
And then we will be the second. I don't know if Milford has opened, so we could be the first store.
I actually had seen recently an article about Ren's. It's a pretty big operation, and I think it will be complementary to the town and to the turnpike. And I also just read somewhere where Toys R Us is going to be occupied by Burlington, I believe it is. I haven't heard that officially, but I did read recently, as recently as a couple of days ago, that Burlington Co-Factory is looking at Toys R Us, which will be good. So it's kind of funny because there's a change going on with the whole Berlin Turnpike, and there will be new companies, new retailers, and new faces up there. But I think as the COVID-19 thing does fade away, I think the Berlin Turnpike will be fully occupied again as it has been. And it certainly is a big draw for many people all over this part of the state and beyond. My understanding in talking with developers is that the Berlin Turnpike remains a hotspot for retailers.
Okay, anything else for our town manager? Okay, new business. We kind of did that already, now thinking about it. Any public participation?
Are you coming to the end now?
Yes, hold on. Gail does have her hand up. Gail?
Okay, I'm sorry, I came in late and you might have discussed this already, but I know a lot of the restaurants in the state are concerned about fall coming, and obviously, you know, whatever revenue they've been able to generate will substantially decrease if the inside capacity is not expanded. And I was wondering if we could approach our legislators or something because Newington certainly has an awful lot of, you know, small restaurants. It's going to kill them if once the outdoor dining, and that's going to happen sooner rather than later. And I personally think that the numbers should be looked at again. And I don't know if there's anything as a town we can do to help our small businesses.
Is that a question, Gail?
Yeah, I mean, what can we do anything, or do you want to do it, or should we do anything? As even as an economic development commission or as a town, the chamber, I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's not you're talking about something that's being mandated by Governor Lamont in the state. That is not something that the chamber can, you know, really participate in or set legislation around.
But you can advocate though.
We certainly can, and we do that through our state representatives who we've been talking to.
Okay.
We could, with maybe some help from you, Gail, just because I know your writing ability, we could draft a letter and send it to Representative Turco, Carrie Woods, Representative Woods, Representative Lopes, and our state senator, Matt Lesser, with our concerns, seeing if they would evaluate.
Our concerns, and if there's anything that can be done, or if you guys, you know, can brainstorm and offer some suggestions even. I'll be happy to do that.
Yeah, Gail, that's something that I think is a worthwhile endeavor. You're right. I mean, the limitations right now, people are waiting, the state's waiting to see how things go after the schools open up. But they're also waiting, I think, to see if they haven't announced the phase 3 yet. I was in a meeting 2 weeks ago with Gary Turco and the state, one of the state commissioners for economic development. And speaking with them, I asked that very question: when is phase 3 going to open up that will allow for businesses, particularly restaurants, to expand their inside capacities? And I was told that they're sort of waiting until the schools open and to make that they feel that they're going to announce that sometime in September. So this discussion has started a few weeks ago, but you know, I'd be more than happy to help. I think it has to be done, you know, with the town itself. It shouldn't just be coming from the chamber, but certainly that's something that I would help, you know, work with if that's someone that from this group wants to, you know, further engage. I have had that discussion with Gary Turco and a young lady who was with the Connecticut Economic Development Group. So, I brought that same question up, and it was about the phase 3 capacities and when, and I was told we'll hear about that in September.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone want to, we could have a subcommittee, or the EDC commissioners could just email. We could start a draft and then submit it on behalf of EDC and business owners. Yes, Dana.
I think you would want something like that, excuse me, to be joint with the EDC, with our town council, and perhaps the chamber as well, but definitely the EDC and the town council, to show that type of commitment and force, rather than just coming from us or just even from the chamber,
Okay.
I agree, Dana. There's strength in numbers, and I think if there was something, I mean, this subject's been broached, but if we put a little bit more meat around it, and I'll represent the chamber aspect if someone from town council and the EDC want to position, and we can start putting together a draft.
So just historically, how the governor has been so very overly cautious, some may say, but anyways, very cautious about openings. I don't think we're going to get him to change his mind or say anything, at least until the 3rd week of September, when you have, like, Hartford will be in their 2nd week of schooling. And he's going to be watching those numbers, with the school kids before he's going to make any sort of commitment. So you might want to even, you got time to build it, and then even some sort of like, well, let's give them some, additional benefits or tax cuts to help make them through it, so they could put up walls on their tents and, heaters into those tents. So they can extend their season if, God forbid, the numbers do rise and nothing changes.
Okay. Thank you, Dana. Any other new business? Any public? Oh, I'm sorry, Chip.
I just unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to just bring up a thing. It was actually a vision of my father that passed away last year at 95, and he hammered me about the last 6-8 months of his life that we should try to develop the center where it used to be on the other side of where the gas station is. There's an 80-foot easement where the trolley used to go all the way down past where the funeral home parking lot and everything else is. I must also disclose I'm a property owner over there, and I have like 30 feet of grass that's part of this 80-foot easement that I've been mowing for 20 years. And also the entrance as it goes down, now we're going to the new town hall. If you look across the chiropractor, the sidewalk is tar. There's nothing to get you down to the park on that side. That whole corner there, most of that's town property in front of the gas station. It's awful. I'd also like to mention that they did remove the dirt from changing the tanks over in the last day or so, which was good because it was all running out. They didn't have it covered or anything. And I just wanted to mention to Keith that they've had all those old pumps and all sorts of stuff behind that gas station that's been an eyesore, and included the Masons put the bushes up there, and I'm also a member of the Masonic Lodge. There's kids going in there and hiding by those dirt piles and cutting all those bushes down. We just noticed when we had our meeting this week. So we'd like to make sure that gas station picks up all those pumps and all that junk that's been behind that building in racks for 5 years at least.
I requested that the light officer and the zoning enforcement officer have that dirt removed last week. It has now been done. I asked for that to be done several months ago. And I will go back there now that the dirt is out to see what's left because, you know, that's an area that's very exposed on all sides. And it should be clean as a whistle, and it hasn't been. So you're absolutely right. As far as sidewalks going down Garfield Street, our plan is to extend sidewalks on both sides down to the new town hall and beyond, actually all the way down to Willard at some point, as well as on the, we'll say the south side of the street to take in up to the park and make that much more accessible for walkers from the center of town.
Again.
You're muted.
Yeah, the other part is that what we've done is part of the engineering and stuff, some of the businesses, including the funeral home, is willing to pay for some of the engineering that might be, because we already have the plan with Bon Giovanni. I was wondering whether we could get a subcommittee together to try to, you know, work with businesses to contribute to some of that instead of waiting for the budget to come around and when the town can work on it. But there's also the opportunity of working with Parks and Rec and other things that the town are doing that a lot of businesses would like to advertise that kind of thing instead of putting their stuff in the rare reminder or print ad anymore. And I think we could gain some money from businesses if we had a list of projects like what we did with the Realty. We worked on the concerts in the Constitution Square with Parks and Rec and got the Masons to donate the tent. Some of these things I don't see that we're doing that I think are what I call low-hanging fruit to try to keep everybody informed that the town is doing something. And I thought that was a good effort to show what Parks and Rec could do. But they needed some money to pay for the bands and stuff like that. And that could be sponsored by businesses. So we can work with the chamber as well and see if any businesses are interested in sponsoring any of this. Because I'd rather advertise doing things for the town than I would putting it in the internet or a rare reminder or whatever. I think businesses would be more geared to helping the town do more projects. So that's two things. So if we want to, you know, I'll talk to Keith later on where we should go from here on this project because he's got half of it done already, I see. Great. Thanks for my participation.
Thanks, Chip.
If I may, just I'd like to thank Chip and the those that donated the use of the tent all summer. The concerts really have grown up there, and I know I was there on Friday night last week, and there was not a parking place to be found up there, and the restaurants were busy, and there was a lot of people there, and that's what we need to do a lot more of, is bringing our town citizens to the center of town because it is a nice area, and we do have some areas that are not readily accessible that should be. So I think you're right, Chip. There is things that we need to be doing in the center of town.
Dana, you had your hand up.
Yeah, regarding the sidewalk going down by the chiropractor and OFI. Now, years ago, when they redid Constance Lee and they chose to do both sides rather than all the way down because the fast track bus stop was on the opposite side, we were told that that was like part of the streetscape and that we should be able to get, and we were supposed to be getting, funding from the state to repair those sidewalks and have them actually be the same style as what's in the center, going all the way down to the town hall. And my dog just knocked something over. So I don't know where that stands, if that's part of anything anymore.
There are several projects that the town, I know since I've been back, we've applied for state funding. I know there was state funding being sought for the center of town. What complicates that a little bit is we don't know what's going to happen with the Keeney property and the old food mart property. But I know that we recently had a public works meeting and we did talk about the pedestrian walkways going down Garfield, because you know, now that the town hall is finished and the old town hall is being removed, once that happens, then, I can see where if we can move the buses to another location, the school buses on a permanent basis, that whole Garfield Street area can become a very attractive walking area for the public, to connect Main Street to Willard Avenue and beyond. And I just think that, we need to really keep our focus on that. We're in a good situation because we have a park close by to the center. Many towns do not have that benefit.
Yeah.
But in our case, we're within a block or two from the Main Street to the Mill Pond area. So that's pretty good.
Oh, I thought I was muted.
So is there, we've just talked about several different quote unquote projects. Now you're talking about Garfield Street and sort of Dana mentioned the Constance Lee, and is there anywhere either in the town or within the EDC that these projects are, that they're positioned and prioritized? Is there any given list, or is this something, it'd be really nice that if we can look at this and say, these are the top 5 priorities that this group is working on. And I don't know if that's readily available to the residents of the town, if that's something that's available from the town. And as we're talking about these projects and saying, Keith, I think that makes a lot of sense, where you have, that thoroughfare from Main Street out to Willard. And certainly, is there anywhere where all these projects are listed and positioned that we can look as a group, as taxpayers and residents of town, that we can help prioritize? I don't know if there is or not. It may already be done. So just a question.
I will say this, Peter, that at this moment, I would say there isn't a plan written in place as there had been years ago through the CIP program and so forth. But I will tell you what's on the table right now that's moving forward is you've got the Robbins Avenue reconstruction that will be going forward probably next spring, that will go from Main Street all the way to Maple Hill. And then the New Britain Avenue, Maple Hill intersection area, there is a plan that's been developed to redevelop that whole area infrastructure-wise with new driveways, new curbing, new lighting. There's another grant that we are seeking dealing with the infrastructure at Main Street and Stoddard and Hartford Avenue that will include new sidewalks, new lighting, new curbing in that area. And then we have just been developing plans for doing the entire length of Maple Hill Avenue and redesigning the Cedar Street, Maple Hill Avenue area to better align with Alumni Road. So those are 4 projects that are currently being pursued, but to have a list that's been adopted and accepted that is not in place at this time, and it should be. We should know what we're doing for the next 5 years and beyond if possible. And that's something that will be developed through this budgetary process with our capital improvement program. We're going to change the whole way in which the capital improvement program is designed and laid out and funded. So that is something that we've been talking about. And in fact, we're supposed to have a meeting tomorrow night with the capital improvement subcommittee, but that's been canceled due to the recent COVID activity within the town hall. So there's a lot out there. It just hasn't been put into place in writing the way I would hope it would have been.
Can I throw one more thing in there about up here where I live on the back lane area? Didn't Kathy Hall come up with a long range plan that had something to do with a walkway and a bicycle track, and they were trying to I think that should be back on our agenda because more people are outside. And I know they spent a lot of time doing that plan. And I don't know whether I still have a copy of it, but I know Kathy Hall was the chairman of that had that whole walkway on the top of the turnpike. So I think maybe that should be an action item that the EDC might resurrect. That's all.
Okay.
I don't think that's an EDC thing, but I do remember that whole plan. And I can't remember why. I want to say, not that it got scrapped, but I think it was getting tied into the fast track and the fast track stops that are supposed to be going on the Berlin Turnpike and the state wanting to do their own kind of bike lane, bike path thing. And I think that's what happened to it.
I will tell you that this is the first I've heard of it, so it's happened within the last 18 years, and it's not something that I've seen in writing in my office anywhere.
Okay. Any public participation? Okay. Just, nope. Commissioners' comments? Okay.
I got a comment. I just want to put out to our businesses out there that glad that it seems like almost all of them made it through. Sorry for those that didn't. And I hope that they know that they can come to us and mostly to keep, for some help and assistance and guidance in how to keep going through all this.
Chip, you had your hand up.
I just think that we should, maybe make some kind of a subcommittee of this EDC that can address some of the things, like if the drainage that's backing up in places. I don't know whether Keith Chapman knows that SNET put their pole right through the center of the storm drain that comes out of Cambria Avenue when there's no water really flowing out of there. We
That's
found that when we were putting some.
That was a good place for them to put the poles.
I couldn't believe it. It's only an inch on either side when I looked up through that whole storm drain. But if you look at Willard Avenue where Robbins Avenue goes by, that beautiful bridge they made there, that pipe is 2/3 full of mud.
Yep.
And that whole area going down Willard, all the way down, almost to Lewis Street. That we got to try to see what we can do. I don't know, it's expensive, but I can remember when Nels Nelson and the boys in Stamp Construction had all the equipment digging out those ponds. We haven't done any of that in a few years, and that should be in some kind of a capital plan as well, or look for some grants to do that. So that's another thing we could put on the list.
Chip,
We got downtime now. I think it's a good idea to start planning for some of this.
Chip, you absolutely were right. That the whole stormwater system in the town has been neglected for many years. But this year, we did make a real concerted effort on cleaning up a number of areas that were blockages. And we've reduced down the flooding that had been occurring significantly in areas that were adversely impacted. But there should be a plan that's a multi-year plan to clean these brooks and keep them clean. But again, these are all things that are going to take a little bit of time. And with your help, with this commission, I think if you're willing to help me, I'd be willing to take your help. No question about it.
I think Jay has a question.
Yeah, can you hear me? I
Yes.
unmute. I believe the EQC, when I was on the EQC commission, there was a few that would actually, and I think if Gail's on, they were actually working on that. With the waterways, a lot of the sewers, bridges. I don't remember the detail, but I thought they were working on it, Keith.
Yeah, I think you're right. And again, it's one of those situations that doesn't come up as a topic unless something bad happens. And meanwhile, it continues to erode away and deteriorate. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, we're in a real mess. So it's all called preventative maintenance. And that's where we have to get back to, even with all of our infrastructure. And part of, doing the facility study that Owens is undertaking right now, that will address that area. The streets and sidewalks are another area that's been studied, and we're putting together a long-range plan we're going to end up having to fund more money. We have more road miles here now, and over the years, that program has gone away. Our equipment reserve program for replacement of motor vehicles all had been laid out for an ongoing replacement plan that has been, we'll say, not followed properly. So all these things are hanging out there. Our waterway system, you look at the two pools that we have, they're not in good condition. So we're going to play catch up for a while, and hopefully with economic development growth, we'll have the funds to do that. But there hasn't been a lot of economic development, so therefore there hasn't been a lot of grand list growth. And meanwhile, the mill rate keeps going up, and it's a catch-22 situation that we've got to turn around. And part of it is we have to stop spending money unnecessarily in areas wherever it may be.
Okay. One thing I just thought of when I looked at my notes is that I know it's been announced, and if people do read other commissions meeting minutes, they would know, but I just think it should be brought to everyone's attention that TPZ did change the regulations for breweries and distilleries, which I think is a great thing for Newington. I think it would be great if we could get one, two, a couple breweries, maybe a distillery in here. So just, you never know when you come upon people when you're out and about. So I just wanted to let people know about that. Anything from anyone else? Okay, could I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
A motion to adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay,
Aye.
thank you all, and we'll see you in October.
Aye.
Thanks, James.